So, have you ever stopped to think about how different computer systems actually trust each other? You know, how an external app and your Salesforce account can talk securely, especially when there isn't a person sitting there to type in a password. It's actually a huge deal in the world of automation, and today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the slickest solutions out there, the Salesforce OAuth client credentials flow. All right, so how does this whole thing really work? We're going to break it down into a simple 5-step story. First, we'll look at the mission itself. Then we'll see the digital handshake, where everyone proves who they are. After that, the app gets the key it needs to get inside. Then it's time for action. And finally, we'll see the successful result. Let's dive in. Okay, so in our story, we've got two main characters. On one side, we have an external application. Just think of it as some outside tool that needs to talk to Salesforce. And on the other side, well, that's our second character, the Salesforce platform, holding all the important data that the app needs to get to. Now, the mission itself sounds pretty simple. Our app just needs to create a new record inside Salesforce. But here's the kicker, the really important part. It has to do this all by itself. No human help, no one typing in a password. This is pure automated server-to-server communication. Right, so before these two systems can start sharing secrets, they need a proper introduction. You can't just have the app show up and start making demands. It first has to prove to Salesforce that it's legit, that it's an authorized client. This first step, this digital handshake, is all about building that initial trust. So how does this handshake even start? Well, the app makes the first move. It presents its unique set of credentials to Salesforce, something called a client ID and a client secret. This is the very first step in this whole security dance. Honestly, the easiest way to think about this client ID and secret is just like the app's own permanent username and password. You set them up one time inside Salesforce, and from then on, they uniquely identify this specific application. It's the rock-solid foundation of the app's identity. Okay, this is where it gets really clever. Once Salesforce says, okay, I trust you, it doesn't just hand over the master keys to the whole building. No way. Instead, it does something way smarter. It issues a special, temporary key that's only good for this one job. This is the absolute core of why this process is so secure. And it all happens in this super quick 3-step exchange. First, the app sends its permanent credentials, that client ID and secret, to a special web address at Salesforce called the token endpoint. Second, Salesforce takes a look and verifies them, basically saying, yep, I know you, you're good. And third, once everything checks out, boom, Salesforce issues and sends back that temporary key, which is called an access token. And this token right here, this is the golden ticket. It's not the app's permanent password, remember that. It's just a temporary pass, a hall pass, if you will, that's only been granted for this one specific mission. Think of this access token like a keycard for a hotel room. It only works for a short amount of time, and it only opens specific doors, or in this case, grants specific permissions. This is so much more secure than blasting your main password over the internet every single time you need to do something. So, our application has proven who it is, and it's got its temporary key, the access token. Now it's finally time to put that key to use and get the job done. With that token in hand, the app now turns to the Salesforce API, which is basically the front door for all the data. It presents this token along with its request, and it's pretty much saying, hey, here's my valid pass. Please let me do this one thing I'm authorized to do. And what is that one thing? It's a simple, direct request, create a record. The app is now making its intentions crystal clear to Salesforce. And that brings us to the grand finale, the moment of truth. The app has done everything right, it presented its credentials, it got the key, it made the request, and now we see the result. And there it is, that beautiful little check mark tells us everything we need to know. It worked. Salesforce validated the access token, it approved the request, and just like that, the record was created. The app's mission is a total success, all done securely and completely on its own. So why do we even care about all this? Why is this flow so important? Well, for one, it's the absolute backbone of modern automation. It means you don't need a person to do anything. It's also incredibly secure because you're not constantly sending your main password around. And it creates these super efficient, super reliable bridges between totally different systems. It's how the modern internet works behind the scenes. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Now that you've seen the mechanics of how this secure handshake actually works, The wheels are probably turning, right? So think about your own world, your own workflows. What's that one manual process, that annoying data entry task that you could finally completely automate by building a secure bridge just like this one?